Congressman Greg Murphy, Republican from North Carolina, joins me now. Good to see you, Congressman. Look, you're the House GOP Doctors Caucus co-chair. Do you agree with the president that they might just have to extend the subsidies because the deadline to sign up is what, 2 weeks away?
Yeah, it is, Lauren. And remember, if we look back at what the ACA was and what Obamacare was, this was this was written by insurance companies for insurance companies. And it is imploding upon itself, hence the need for these new subsidies that were hidden in the, quote, temporary COVID era things. And they're doomed to explode. If you look at what's going on right now, it's not that the cost of health care, while it has gone up, is exploding. It is insurance company profits that are plummeting. And so they're doing this. They're raising the premiums to support insurance company profits. Go and look and see what's happened to the cost of United stocks since Republicans have come in. We're going to have to extend them in some regard, but then we have to deal with the cost of care in this country. There are literally probably about 12 things that can be done, in my opinion, just as a physician and one who's studied medicine my entire career, that can lower the cost of care in this country. Tort reform, 340B reform, CON reform, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to have to continue this nonsense for a little while longer. But then we really have to make an honest and concerted effort to control the cost of health care in the country. I think it can be done.
What's a little while longer, though, Congressman?
Yeah, I don't think 2 years is right. Maybe 18 months or something to get us through the election period. I mean, this is really a bomb sticker because of what Democrats have done. We have to continue it a little while longer to take a good look again at the cost of care. But letting them expire is not only not the right thing for Americans, but it's not the right thing politically. And you have to think about that in this day and age.
So it's a 2026 midterm topic. Next one for you, Congressman.
Yeah,
the White
sure.
House says it may slash income tax completely over the next few years because of the revenue that's coming in from the tariffs. Do you approve of that idea?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think on that one a whole lot. I think income tax has been the mainstay of how we get revenue for the country. Hopefully tariffs go away, because the great idea would be that countries would actually do things in a fair manner rather than tariff us, which is really, we've rebuilt the world since World War II if you look at what's happened with tariffs. No, I'd have to really think on that one, because I think we're always going to need an income tax, and hopefully we won't need tariffs because people will trade fairly with the United States.
So then I take it you're against the tariff dividend checks or those $2,000 stimulus checks also?
Yeah, the cost of those is going to be really astronomical. Again, love to look at this program. I think we need to worry about taking some of this money and actually paying down our debt.
Yep.
I'd like to obviously help some of our lower income individuals. I don't think tariff checks going out for everybody really is a great thing. Maybe for the lower income individuals, but we have to look at the cost. Again, we have to look at the cost of literally every movement of what we're doing in federal government.
Yeah. Politico says some Republicans in your state, North Carolina, are worried about these federal immigration raids, and they're worried specifically that they could backfire on Republicans. Republicans have been very strong on immigration. Are you worried that the raids have gone too far and the cost of them is too high for your party?
Well, I think the liberal media has blown them. The Charlotte Observer, the Charlotte TV stations, the same thing in Raleigh. The liberal media has blown this into a massive proportion. Remember, immigration reform is really one of the mainstays of what won the presidency last fall.
Yeah.
Sadly enough, when you actually start putting action into the words into action, this is where the difficult challenges are. With people on their phones and choreographing and videoing everything that's going on, sometimes it's difficult things to watch. But the mainstream media, the liberal media, plays to the emotions of individuals. There have been some individuals that have been picked up and immediately released, but they're getting criminals off the street. And if we want a safer America, we wouldn't have to be doing all this had it not been for the absolute debacle of what happened during the Biden administration. I wish the liberal media would understand how many children have been lost, absolutely lost into America's sex traffic because of what Biden administration has done. I think when the adults come in the room, they need to realize that this is a necessary thing that we need to do to secure safety and security in this country.
Do you think the White House needs to say more that these are the worst of the worst? This is their criminal record. That's why we went after them?
Yeah, I do think we do need to do a better job of messaging. You know, Democrats always do a much better job of messaging. Well, they have the mainstream media that goes with them. Yeah. But I think always Republicans need to do a much better job of pushing out the message rather than just saying, hey, we're doing the right thing. I think we do need to point out real statistics and how much crime is decreasing in these cities where ICE is taking criminals off the street.
President Trump now says the White House is exploring a reverse migration plan that would halt immigration from third world countries. And that, of course, after the deadly shooting in the nation's capital. Do you approve of that hard line?
Yeah, this is a tragic occurrence. I think what has happened is, again, going back to the debacle of the last administration, I don't even think Biden really knew much about this, and I'd love for him to come out and apologize for what's having to happen in this country now. I think what we need to do is really look hard at the individuals who came in this country, see what is going on. They just let people come into this country. We didn't know who they were, where they're from, where they're going, what they're doing, and this is the result of this. And America really needs to understand the consequences of the last administration's actions. How we deal with that moving forward, fully up to discussion, but we have to do something about this. And to one of your speakers earlier, I'm also surprised that more terrorist attacks have not occurred because of the last administration's actions.
Congressman, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on today. Let's check the market before we do the opening bell right after this break. And you can see trading volumes.